What's up, guys? Happy New Year. We are back. The podcast is back online. Apologize about last week. I was up in Georgia at the farmhouse with a family doing a ton of fishing up there and just having fun. And we're in a place with no internet, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And the podcast was something that didn't happen. So we took a week off, but we are back with a vengeance. Got some really cool stuff coming this year. As you probably heard from the emails late in December, some really exciting changes coming in 2023 for our Insider Club. A lot of new shortcuts, a lot of new guides have been joining. I think we just got 10 more this week that have already have joined to be sharing what is working in their area. And we're trying to cover every single city that's on the coast from South Texas all the way up to New Jersey. Now, to make sure that we have full-time guides in that area sharing, this is private stuff, only for our members. You won't find this on YouTube or anywhere else. What is working in their area for that specific week. And then, of course, our coaches are doing their stuff as well as normal. And we just added in a ton. I'm talking like over 5,000 new spots into the Smart Fishing Spot System. Check that out if you haven't checked it out in a while. That's exciting. And on this episode, we are going to be I'm talking with Nick, our head developer, on a really amazing, like over the top, like best one I've ever seen catch log. And it's just continuing to getting smarter and better every single month. But check this out. If you can, I would encourage you to go watch it as well on YouTube. We did a video just showing how this works, but it is mind-blowing what this will do for you in terms of your own fish catching abilities. And it's going to give you basically your own logbook without you having to go type in anything. It's literally just going to start scraping all the information from NOAA in terms of what the tide was doing, the wind temperature and the humidity and all that, barometric pressure, all that stuff, so that you can start kind of building your own little portfolio, if you will, of knowing exactly when you have the most success in your area. Meaning if, hey, every single redfish I've caught this month of January has been on the incoming tide, for instance, at this certain time and in this certain type of area. I mean, this is really, really valuable information. So enjoy this. And I cannot wait for you guys to see what we have coming next. If you haven't joined the Insider Club, what the heck are you waiting for? Someone to grab you by the hand and help you save money and time? Join us today at saltstrong.com. Otherwise, here is the episode.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again with my boy, Nick.
What's up,
buddy?
Joe? All's well.
Oh, man. Some new changes to the Smart Fishing Spots app and software, what I am calling the sickest catch log ever. And if you're not familiar with that term, because I know there's some people who aren't, this is so powerful to have a catch log, which is a log, almost think of it like a journal or a logbook of your catches. A lot of experienced anglers do this. Some of the most famous guides of all time do this, where they actually, in the old days, they'd get off the water, right? They'd have almost like a notebook, or now the days a computer, and you type in everything that happened about that day, from the time that you caught the fish, was it ingoing or outgoing tide, moon phase, the weather, the wind, the barometric pressure, all of this stuff. And that would take time, right? Luke used to do this back in the day, and he would actually print off the tide chart for the day. And then when he got off the water, he would go back and actually put like a little X on a physical piece of paper on a tide chart and say, all right, I caught a redfish here and then a snook here. And he would analyze that, and he would keep it in a file cabinet and go back to it, right? So if he was going to fish that same area the next year around that same time, let's just say it's winter, for instance, in January, he would go back and look and say, oh man, I was catching all this redfish around that new moon on the falling tide. And there's a lot of power in that. And bad news is it takes a while, right, Nick? I mean,
Yeah.
to even Luke said, he's like, man, I spent so much time documenting all that stuff, and then he moved and lost it all, and he's like, man, I wish I'd had this somewhere electronically that I could always go back to, and even more importantly, that it would serve me up the answers that I want, meaning that you could find stuff faster, and you're not having to dig through an old dusty file cabinet trying to figure out where was that that one report from January of 2022 or 2021. And so we've been working behind the scenes inside of our smart fishing spots and inside of our insider community to build this for our members. Obviously, we want to keep all this internally private. We don't want this to be something the public sees, which is why the public can't see the insider community or anything that we're doing for the insider club. And now we finally have it. It is incredible. I've been testing it out. Nick's been testing it out. And I think one of the even cooler things is you can go back historically. So most of us have a lot of our pictures on our phone. You can upload, pictures from 2-3 years ago, and assuming you had location on, which most of us tend to do on our phones, so we can find our phone, I think the majority of people have some sort of location services on. I always do. You can actually upload those pictures, and it'll automatically, because it's going to be able to see where you were, the time, the exact date, and then that goes back and looks at historical weather, wind, barometric pressure, the moon phase, the tide, all that stuff, and puts it on a chart for you. So, I mean, holy smokes, there is so much power there where you now could have the last, let's just say 3-5 years of all your catches. You now have so much data to look at to see, man, I was catching all these redfish and snook at this particular moment. I mean, that just gives you so much power. So, Nick, I know we're going to do, probably an experiment here, a
Yeah.
case study, and show an example of this so people can understand what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Let me share. So can you see my screen?
Yep. So if you're listening, I would urge you to watch this because it's pretty fascinating. But we're inside of the community right now. This is the private insider only community. And Nick is going to show an example of just how this works.
Yeah. So basically, you'll go through and I'm going to create a fishing report. So I'm going to say nice snook that I caught. Actually, my son caught. Son's snook. He caught. And then what I'll do is come down here, choose my photos, and here's the snook that Dominic caught.
Right.
And I'm going to import this or upload it. And just like that, what it
Look
did
at
was,
this.
yeah. So it knows the date and time that I took this photo, and we're still on the boat. We literally just landed this because we released the snook shortly after. So it knows the date and time. It pulls in what the weather was, the moon phase, the wind speed and the direction and the temperature, and then it actually plots it out on a tide chart. So we know right here, time of catch, it was near the end of the incoming tide. So now we know the exact time that that fish was caught in the tide chart. And then down here, I can say this was a snook, right? So I'm just going to tag it with a snook, and I caught it with a, let's say, just a 5-inch slam shady. Or yeah, just do 5-inch slam shady.
Okay.
And then down below, it's showing me on a map where I caught it. And this happened to be a little piece of structure, South Tampa Bay. And then I have the option
now
to.
everybody knows your spot here. And so normally, if you're listening, it actually shows exactly where that picture was taken. And all the apps have access to this. If you have your location, I mean, Instagram, Facebook, they all do. We want to obviously keep this private inside the community. And Nick is about to talk about a further option if you want it just for yourself. Because we know half our members they just want to share with others and don't really care. Some don't. So we completely understand if it's one of your super secret hidden honey holes, then you don't have to share this with anyone. There is no right or wrong answer here. We want to make sure we always give you that option.
Exactly. So with this option here, I can share it with the rest of the members. So it's not available to the public, but there could be other members that I'm friends with, or I can make it private. So it's just the additional information is just for me. And so I'm going to go ahead and post that. So now it just shared or just made a post. Yep. And here's the cool part. So now we have smart fishing spots, right? So I'm going to come over here Let me refresh this. And there is a tool called waypoints, and I'm going to load waypoints. Now, this is the catch log that I just did in the community, and this is only viewable by me. So it has the name of the catch, and then it automatically creates these tags that it extracted
So this all happened from this one post.
From this one post. So here's all the weather information in the spot. And then when I go over to Smart Fishing Spots, I can start to develop this log of all my catches. And it extrapolated all the tags based on that catch and based on the weather. So right now I've got that it's a catch report. It was in March. It was partly cloudy. The moon phase, the wind speed, the species, and the lure, as well as the tide. So the cool thing is now I can start filtering my historical catches, and I can say, okay, show me everything I caught on an incoming tide. These are all my catches from my automatic log on an incoming tide, right? And then I can say, well, show me all my snook that I caught on an incoming tide. And after time, when you have all your catches in here, you'll be able to easily plot your here. Let's just do this. Let's do incoming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to select all these. I'm going to say load selected, right? So now it just loaded all those.
Look at this.
It loaded all the catches on the map. It plotted them on a map. So I can see this is where I caught fish on an incoming tide. Then you can click on this and you can see what the catch was. Here's Dominic's catch. Here's the wind information. Here's the tags. And then going back to the waypoints, if it came from a fishing report, I can link back to the original report where there's comments and maybe someone gave me some other information on that, particular area that I was fishing or something like that. So it all ties back to the region.
This is the actual sick. Fish. So yeah. Hopefully you guys are getting this and seeing how exciting this is. And Nick just used one example here. So go back to the Smart Fishing Spots.
Yeah.
So this is our software, and it's the bottom right. It's the little gear icon. Mm-hmm. Is if you're listening, so you can understand where to find all this. So the very bottom right is a gear icon that shoots out all the different layers and different options. And there's 7 little mm-hmm. icons underneath the gear. The middle one is routes and track tools. That's where the waypoints are. And yes. You just click waypoints, and then all of yours, it won't be everyone else's. It'll be, this is for you. And You'll see all of that. And so Nick searched under tags, and let's just say you wanted to do the month of January, for instance. You'd hit January, and you can add all of those to the map. And, if you have years of this, you could see, man, I caught all of these fish right around this one area in January. I mean, that is so much intel. That is crazy.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you can say, okay, I want all the catch reports for January. I can choose these, and then I can export them and import them into my fish finder, so I can reference them on my boat, or I can just pull up the app on my boat or on my phone and reference them that way.
So when you export this, so we're in the waypoints. Mm-hmm. Nick, you put in June as your tag, and so load selected will bring it onto the map, right?
Yeah, this will put it on the map.
Okay. And then if you, keep going.
So you can do load selected, and then you can do export, and that'll give you a file to import into your fish finder if you need to.
And what would it look like on your fish finder?
It would be a waypoint, whatever your default waypoint is. It wouldn't have the photo or anything, but it would actually have the waypoint, and in the description, it would have all these tags. So you could see that it was a snook incoming 5-inch slam shady. So cool. So then in the waypoints tool, this isn't the only way to populate your waypoints. You can also add them manually. If you know a particular area you want to, check out, you can drop a spot like this and save it. Test, and then you can color code them. You can add your own tags. Good spot, maybe. And then you can save it. And then that'll show up in here. Right here is my new spot. I tagged it with good spot. You can also, let's say your buddy gave you some coordinates you need to check out. You can enter the coordinates manually if you need to. And then we're working, actually, I think we're done. We have the import. So you can also import a big list. So if you have a GPX file or I think a KML file as well, you can import those into the system.
That is so cool. I know we had talked about members being able to share some of these waypoints privately, like with another member. I know we have members who fish together and kind of team up and share tips. Is that
That's on the
available?
roadmap.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's available. Not yet though. It's on the roadmap, but we're kind of working on a system where you could potentially choose, let's say I want to, you could even add additional tags to this. Let's say, Joe, you and I fish, and I could tag your name, and then you could filter by that name and then share those with someone else. Like, let's say I was going to go fish with Luke and say, here's spots that Joe and I fish. You might want to check them out.
So powerful. Hopefully you guys are seeing what this is capable of doing. And this is crazy. And this is how Luke got so good. I mean, he doesn't do this today. He's going to start doing it now. He's already starting to build his own out. It was more of just a time commitment for him. This makes it so easy. So as Nick, hopefully you guys are watching this. If you're listening, definitely go watch this. You have to see this for yourself. All he did was uploaded that picture, and it automatically is capturing all that information for you. So there's no more having to print out a tide chart and put an X on there and figuring out the time. There's no more having to write a bunch of notes. I mean, this does it automatically for you. And that's assuming that you take the fish pick, around the time that you caught it, not at the dock 4 hours later.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
and that would be the only flaw, I guess, on this, where it's not going to be perfect. So it obviously it is better, which is what the majority of us do. Even the fish looks better, why it's still alive, assuming you're going to keep it. I mean, you guys know what happens if you put a fish on ice and or bleed it. I mean, it doesn't look the same at the dock. It looks absolutely shriveled up and loses some of its color. So as long as you're doing that, and even if you have pictures from years ago, that as long as you have the location services on, this will automatically do it. And oh my gosh, like the amount of intel that is available here for you, the member, and your own logbook. I mean, this is crazy. This gives you such an edge over other anglers who are just kind of guessing and hoping and praying. And we all think that we're going to remember what we caught and if it was incoming or outgoing. There's some catches that we do, but for the most part, we forget stuff that happened last month, let alone a year or two ago. So I think this is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and even if you don't have your location services turned on for your camera, if you upload a photo, we have another way. It will detect if there's not a longitude and latitude on that photo, and you can manually choose the location. Like, let's say you remembered a particular dock that you caught that snook on. It'll display a satellite map. You can pin right at that dock and then choose the date and the relative time that you caught that, and it'll still pull the weather and the tide information manually. So it'll actually pull it in automatically, but you can choose the location manually and the time. So it'll still do that.
And I assume there's also two ways to do it. You can go straight to waypoints and just drop a pin and build it, or you could create a whole new catch report inside the community.
Yeah. So right now you'd have to do it through the community.
Okay.
You can post it that way, but the next part's going to be just like you add here. You can drop a pin and then upload your photo here, and it'll pull it in that way. So it's basically will be an additional way of creating a catch report, and then you'll have a checkbox whether you want to post it to the community or just make it private.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
I know a question is going to come up is how do I know if my locations are turned on? So I'll explain on an iPhone. And Nick, I know you have a non-iPhone. So on an iPhone, I believe it's privacy and security, and then the very top. So if you're let me start over. You go to your settings where all your stuff is in your iPhone, and then you'll scroll down and you'll see general, and at the very bottom in that main kind of section will general, control center, display and brightness, home screen. Very bottom, privacy and security. Location services is the top one, and then you just need to go down to camera and then add in what you want. So it's the camera is it, and then I think it's so it's never, which would not document anything. Ask next time or when I share, or while using the app. I have it while using the app, and then I put precise location is what I have on mine. I think photos is the other one. Is it photos or is it the camera? Which one do you think that is?
It's the camera because that's where the photos will originate
That's
from.
what I thought. I
Yeah.
would do it on. I have it on both, on photos and camera, just to be safe.
Mhm.
But certainly on camera because that is what's taking the picture. So
Yeah,
um,
and we'll do a how-to video on how to do it on iPhone as well as Android. So at least on Android, it's kind of similar in your camera. You launch your camera app, and then in the top left, there's a cog icon or a gear icon, and you scroll down, and at about maybe the middle of the way through, it says location tags, and as a toggle, you just turn it on, and that's it.
cool. Awesome, man. Well, hopefully this was helpful for you. I know this has been a question that has come up so many times over the years is, hey, can you guys build us a logbook? I mean, we have new reports going up in this community. I mean, every 5 to 10 minutes, and that has been a hot question. Is hey, it's cool that we're able to post our reports and get some attaboys and a bunch of likes and comments, but it really cool if it tracked it all and was capturing the tide and the time of day and all this. And now we can't. So I don't if you guys are watching. Or if you're listening, what Nick did is just uploaded 3 pictures and it pulls all of them and it shows exactly the time of catch on the tide chart. This is so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you
in
can do
this
batch reports.
scenario, what? Okay, so I see it. So you would, if you uploaded multiple pictures, you get to pick the species below each one, any lure or bait used, and then you're just uploading them all at one time.
Exactly. So a lot of times on your fishing trips, you catch more than one fish at different locations. So we updated the fishing reports feature so that you can upload multiple photos and each one of those catches will be plotted out. So now you can see all 3 spots in one report, and then those will also go into the waypoint. So you have those logs. So you don't have to do one report or one catch log per photo. You can do it all in one batch. I'd recommend probably keeping it under 10 photos, but you still can do it in batches like that.
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, dig in. This is available to all Insider members. If you're not a member, what the heck are you waiting on? We are just coming up with new things like this to better serve you, to give you intel that is really hard to get out there. And like I said, this is a completely free service to our members inside of the community. And obviously, it's talking back and forth with smart fishing spots and your own waypoints. So cool. And this is a game changer. And you do this for a couple years, all of a sudden you wake up and you have a legit logbook and you have all kinds of information about what's been working for you and when is the best time for you personally to go fishing in your area. I think this is so cool.
Yeah, and we have some ideas down the road that is going to improve it even more, and that's kind of using some of Google Lens technology to help with fish identification and that sort of thing. So then it's really we're gonna build on top of it. So
I love it. Cool.
yeah.
Well, Nick, awesome job on this one. Everyone go check it out. It's inside of the community and smart fishing spots right now. And as I said, if you're not a member, what the heck are you waiting on? Someone to grab you by the hand and show you where to fish every week? Because that is what we're doing. If you haven't seen the smart fishing spots app, I mean, this is just a fraction of what we covered today of what this can do. It is basically a way for you to delete every app that you ever use for fishing. It has everything you could possibly imagine and then some. It actually has predictive analysis on areas that you should try based on all the variables coming in. I personally wouldn't rely only on that. It's a great starting point. I mean, just like if someone gave you a top spots map or any of those spot maps, you don't rely on it. It's a good point. Ours actually moves. At least our spots are moving, and they're changing as the tide and as all the different variables change. And there's been sometimes we do try it out, and it is just like, holy smokes, this is a new hotspot. I personally love the oyster bars and the seagrass. So what I do, there's a little toggle switch in that same little gear icon where you can show in any area all the oyster bars and the seagrass. And as we always say here in the Insider Club, maximize your structure, maximize the opportunities, the amount of fish that are probably going to be there. And so I look for areas that have a little depth change, which you can do right there in Smart Fishing Spots. It's got sonar as well. So I'll do that little toggle in the middle where I can see depth changes. And if I see oyster bars and seagrass around all one area or mangrove lines or any other kind of structure, docks, man, I'm going to circle that spot or ping it, and that's an area that I'm going to go fish. So, and it's so easy. We made it so easier for you to do all there inside of this one app. So, Nick, anything else?
I think that covers it for now.
Ooh, awesome, guys! Go check it out. Give us your feedback. We'll obviously have a blog post about this. You might already be in here watching it at saltstrong.com. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think, and any other features and benefits that you want to see inside of the community and Smart Fishing Spots. This all came about because of your your input. So continue to keep giving us any and all feedback on what you want to see, and we will start building it. So hope that is helpful. Hope you guys start using it today, and I can't wait to see you inside the club. See you, Nick.
Thank you, Joe.
Whoop, whoop.
Adios.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was